Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah. Today we are continuing with chapter 4 on the nature of holistic human behavior and the effect of conditioning. Chapter 4 of this book, Positive Islamic Psychology, a transcendent model to achieve peace, happiness and success in the 21st century. So today I'm going to discuss on the idea of the nature of force and aggression. So we're going to read some topic, some material, a few paragraphs from this writings of Professor Muhammad Bahdi Jenkins. The nature of force and aggression. It would be correct if I left out the word aggression, since force includes all wrong influences. So that means if we say the word force, it includes aggression. I include the word aggression though because it portrays the most blatant use of force in human behavior. So aggression is one thing that we see happening every day, and it is something that is evil, which we have to reduce and make it less prominent in our life today and in the future. I include the word aggression though because it portrays the most blatant use of force in human behavior. It is important to spread success. It is important to the successful spread of knowledge that effective images be created. So what is the effective images that we want to create? When I say the right path is the path of love, of peace and love, it provides a good mental image to contrast with the wrong path of force and aggression. In this way of expressing the right and the wrong paths, all the words are actually mental symbols. So when we talk, because we are human beings, we use linguists, we use our visual, auditory, and kinesthetic capabilities. So we use languages. So symbolic language brings a picture in our consciousness. In this way, expressing the right and the wrong path, all the words are actually mental symbols. Other words could take their place, but all would be signifying the same underlying truth. In this comparison of the path of right and wrong, force is the contrasting symbol to peace, and aggression is a contrasting symbol to love. So force is opposite of peace, aggression is opposite of love. Those are just some small part that which is force and aggression. Force and aggression includes all forms of influence which derive their power from the material plane of existence. So because of the material existence that we live today, we are still bounded by the existence of the animal level, which I've mentioned before. But remember that all influences derive their power from the material existence. That means in the nature of force and aggression. Matter in the physical universe is directed by those influences. The non-physical component in matter is directed by free will. So if we talk about our roh, nafs, our akal, our qalb, these are directing our free will to choose good or bad. The non-physical component in matter is directed by free will, influenced by the attraction of perfect existence. That means our journey towards perfection in this life, towards al-insanul kamil, towards the nafsul al-mutma'innah. Included among the influences of force and aggression at the human level are material wealth, power, fame, and seeking of pleasure, and the avoidance of pain. So these have been described earlier on of how human beings yearn for wealth, power, fame, and seeking pleasures of this dunya, so that in the end we become very materialistic and mono-dimensional. We forget about our intrinsic spiritual consciousness that Allah has blessed upon us. Anything which conditions us in a way that enhances the attractiveness or increases the practice of any of these forms of force and aggression is wrong conditioning. So again, in the laws of learning, these are wrong conditionings. It is just as wrong as conditioning children to be aggressive by fighting in front of them. So if we are parents, we start fighting in front of them, we are actually repeating the whole cycle of force and aggression as a way to resolve issues. For example, if the parents slap, the father slapped the mother, then that child sees this whole episode of the mother being slapped as a way as he grew up to become a bully. Some of these other things which affect us would be greed, envy, and lust. Those are just but a few. There are many more. Not all are so obvious, and yet some are unnamed. So this is where we talk about the nature of force and aggression, and I have to direct our attention not only to the worldview that we have today of injustice, forced aggression, for example, modern day slavery, which is a manifestation of force and aggression, using economic power to starve people, that is force and aggression, bombing countries in mud hut using drones, which they have no idea where these bombs are coming from. Those are force and aggression, and so many manifestations of this evil of force and aggression. But if we look backward into our ummah, we are also suffering the same syndrome. That means if we are going to be an ummah of peace, of love, of justice, of happiness, of joy, we must then remove from our psyche. Because for the last 200-300 years of colonization, our psyche is a psyche of defense, a psyche of counter-attack, a psyche of force, a psyche of aggression. So we meet aggression with aggression, and that is not going to solve the problem. This world will have to move towards a world of peace, of happiness, of love, of justice. And to do that, we must manifest those values. So Muslims must, within our ummah, remove this whole idea of going into battle, killing somebody and being killed. So we have a lot of young people who have this idea. That's why we have this evil manifestation in terms of Daesh, IS, Boko Haram, Shabab, many of these so-called freedom fighters and so on. In the end, it becomes a power play of force and aggression. And they kill their own people. For example, if you do something wrong, and they shoot you and kill you. Why? Their justification is because it's against the whole idea of this beautiful Islamic caliphate, which is none other than force, aggression, and power play. So that's why we must find a via media, and that via media is this model of Islamic psychology, positive Islamic psychology, that we are trying to propound to the world, that we remove and reduce as much as possible this whole idea of force and aggression. No doubt there will be force and aggression until Yaumul Qiyamah. We cannot run from that away. Yeah? But if we can manifest within the ummah the beautiful deen of love, of peace, of happiness, of justice, of living with everybody on this earth, regardless of their religion, whether they are Hindu, Buddhist, atheist, and living with all creatures on this earth by making sure that we do not damage this good earth, then we are actually manifesting a very gentle, a very beautiful, a very attractive way of life in the 21st century. And that would be the Dinul Islam. That was the beauty of Islam that was brought about by the beloved Allah, our Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which Allah manifested in His revelation, that we are to be His Khalifa on this earth, that we are going to strive to make ourselves good, help others to be good, make the world good, and inshallah, we would be the ummah, this seas of humanity, the 1.7 billion Muslims, bringing humanity towards a wonderful future, blessed and guided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this world and the hereafter, inshallah.